All right, if everybody would come in and have a seat, we'll get started tonight. I want to welcome everybody tonight. I will say, as you'll learn tonight, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to be standing up here tonight, and I want to take a minute. There's been a lot of other men that have come up and done the devotional and work on this on Wednesday night, and for you stepping up kind of encouraged me as well when I was asked. So thank you other men that have done it. It was an encouragement to me. And me and Andy, I told him I had 3 minutes and he had the rest of the 40 minutes. So we'll see how it goes tonight. I do have a couple announcements. I'm going to ask Tyler Montgomery to lead us in prayer in just a minute. But I had 2 announcements from Bob. Mark Brady, his aunt died. It was real close to him. It's one that Bob's been studying with and had baptized. And his aunt died. Also, Jeremiah Liner is a preacher's son down in Louisiana. It's his son, was cooking today and got burnt with oil, flashback with oil and got burnt. And Bob asked that we pray for him tonight as well. Tyler, if you would lead us in prayer to get us started, please.
Please pray. Our Heavenly Father, we're just so blessed to be able to come here, Lord, and learn more about you, Lord. And please let us take something from what we're about to hear from Mr. Ricky and Andy today and let us use it in our everyday lives, Lord. Just please let us go through the rest of this week and glorify you in all of our actions, Lord. Just please watch over us as we go through this week and just please keep us safe and healthy, Lord. In your name, amen.
Can y'all hear me okay? On my mic, you can hear me on the back? You can hear me okay? All right. This month, Chris is handing out some of them. This month is courtesy. I think Chris kicked it off Sunday morning. And being courtesy. Courtesy brings blessings to us as we're courteous. I want to read the song. I'm not definitely going to try to sing it because I've never heard this song before. But if you look on the back sheet of the handout there, that song, I just want to read the words. The words to it mean a lot. I might let Bob try to lead it, but it won't be me. It says, reaping the blessings that courtesy brings, each day brings gladness. About this we sing. Say yes, sir, and obey your parents each day, praying for strength to do all things God's way. Ever we're knowing and we're striving to the end, caring and sharing with your dear friend. Thank you, excuse me, we must not forget. Put it together, it spells respect. And there is it's a song that goes along with it, and maybe it won't be me to sing it. So, but the words, as y'all are studying this week, it's some words in there that it can stick with especially our young kids and help us thinking about how important it is to be courteous. If you would, it starts out, we're going to read from Acts 28, 1 through 11. We're just going to kind of go through it, not going to read it word for word. I will say this is one story that I probably didn't learn when I was growing up as a young kid. As we learned about the burning bush and all the stories in the Bible, this is one that I was not, I guess, as well listened to in classroom. But I want to back up to chapter 27 to maybe lead us up to why they're on this island. Why Paul, he's an apostle, as we know. We know he preached the gospel everywhere he went. We know Paul meant well in everything he did. He was a very courteous person, loving and kind person. We back up to maybe verse 37 in chapter 27. We know they're on this ship, and we know there's 200, 16 souls there. A lot of people on the boat. We go down 38. It's talking about they were eating, and then they threw the wheat out of the boat. We get down to verse 40. And this is kind of where it starts, that they took their anchors up. So they must have been out in the sea somewhere, anchored up. Storm had been there. They'd anchored up. They pulled their anchors up. And as we know, when we pull our anchors up, we're committed to where we're going. They loosened, it says, the rubber bands. They hoisted their sails, and then the wind took them toward the shore. 41, 42, it talks in 41, it talks about the ship once the wind started blowing, they was headed toward the shore, and they ran into the, I guess we call it today, they got stuck in the mud. They didn't make it to the land. They must have been at a high, wind was blowing them well, and they hit and got stuck. The waves started tearing the boat up. Pieces of the boat started falling apart. It says in verse 42, the soldiers was counseled to kill the prisoners. But then in verse 43, it says the centurion, willing to save Paul, kept them from that. And then he told them, those that could swim, to cast themselves first into the sea and head toward the land. And it says, so I guess back then there was people that couldn't swim like there is today. It's the way I read this. But the people that couldn't swim evidently got a piece of wood, whatever they could get off the ship, where they could make it safely, because it does tell us that they all made it safe to the land. Get in 28, kind of the starting of it. That's why they got to Matilla. I guess how to pronounce that. I'm not sure. I'm not a good Englishman. But that's how they got to the island. And as we know that Paul was with them, and we know Paul was an apostle, and we get there at verse 2, it talks about when they got there, the people showed them no little kindness, that they kindled a fire. Evidently it had been raining, or rain was there, and it was cold. So they had a fire, and the people that had swam was wet. The people had a fire for them, and then Paul, it tells us in verse 3 that he had a bundle of sticks, and then as he laid them in the fire, the serpent, the snake, bit him. We all know what a viper, I believe it tells us here. A viper is known as something bad. Normally if you get bit by a viper, we know what the outcome is. Verse 4, we go on to read there, and then as it goes down, it says they didn't think he shouldn't live. You get bit, you should swell up, but he never did. And he should not live. It said he shook the snake off in verse 5. I guess I got ahead of myself. Verse 5, he shook the snake off, and it fell to no harm. He didn't feel anything. The snake had bit him and didn't feel anything. And he should have swollen up, and he should have fallen dead, and he didn't. And then they realized that Paul was saying that he was a God, that he was a good person. That get down into verse 7, kind of changes a little there, that there was a man already there on the island. And he took them in and lodged them there for 3 days, and he was being courteous to them. Verse 8, and also there was a man there, his father was sick, and Paul went in and prayed, laid his hands on him, and healed him. Verse 9, after he healed him and other people saw how good Paul was, he went on and other people that was diseased on the island, they were healed as well. Verse 10, might want to take a minute to, there's a lot there. And I think it relates to us as a lot. It says, after he had healed them, it said, who also honored us with many honors. And when they were departed, they laden us with such things as was necessary. The word lading, I think most of us know what it means. It means a load, something heavy, a lot of, cargo, freight, something a lot of. And this verse brings out that when we're courteous to others and we're trying to do God's will, we're trying to do what's right, God will bless us more than we'll ever know. That when we're reaching out to others, trying to do what we can, that can be us being laden from God's blessings. Can I get someone to read Matthew 7:12 for me, please? It's the memory verse for the week. Matthew 7:12. Thank you. Memory verse. I kind of look at it as we put God first, others second, we put ourselves last. When we bring courtesy, bringing courtesy to all around us brings blessings our way. When we're being courteous to others, it's going to bring blessings our way from God. That's week one. Yes, sir.
You know, Paul, he didn't have any of these miraculous abilities just to be able to be nice or just do good deeds. Paul's on this island, he's shipwrecked. He never planned on being there. I don't reckon anybody plans on shipwrecking anywhere, but he's shipwrecked on this island, and he can perform this miracle there. Now, he couldn't just do this willy-nilly. In other words, he just didn't get the discretion to use it on, on himself. Right? I mean, there's oftentimes, Trophimus, he left at Ephesus because he was so sick, they thought he was going to die. So Paul couldn't just he wasn't just a doctor, right? This was for a reason. So Paul's washed up on this sea. Publius is the chief man of the island. That was his official Roman title. That's what the Romans had officially named him. And so Paul does this great thing for the most important man on the island. He wouldn't have done it just to be nice. He would have done it to open the door to be able to teach him the gospel. And then verse 11 says, after 3 months we sailed an Alexandrian ship. So they're there for a while. So by him doing this one act of kindness for this old boy's daddy right here, I scarce to say that there was a church. I dare say that there was a church on the island of Malta or Melita, whichever version you're reading there, before Paul left to go back to Rome. And it's because courtesy opened that door.
I think we all realize that when we do stuff for others, it makes us feel good inside. And when we feel good inside, we want to do more. And being courteous, it's not giving money. To me, it's more action. It's doing something. It's putting what I call boots on the ground. It's doing something, not just talking. It's actually doing. To be courteous, you have to actually be involved in an action to do something, to be courteous. Anybody else want to comment on week one?
Verse 8 that the soldier wants to save Paul, in chapter 27. And this soldier's going to kill all of these guys. But evidently because of the influence that Paul had on this guy, you call it kindness, courtesy, the Lord, the love of the Lord, whatever, that he made some kind of effect on this guy to the point that all these prisoners are saved too. And it's a pretty remarkable thing. It's amazing what one guy who's a prisoner can have an effect. And, it's a blessing for me. I get to study with Mark Brady every week. He's a prisoner right now. He's been converted. And the influence that he's having on other people. And you never know what kind of influence you might have on somebody because of your actions.
And just remind you, young people at school, the importance of you making the right decision and doing what God wants you to do. at the time you're in that peer pressure and but when you do it, it's amazing what you can do. It's amazing when we can do. I thought the same thing. Why didn't they kill some of them? But they all made it to the land safe. And I guess the respect they had for Paul at the time. How am I doing, Andy? All right. Week 2. When we get to week 2, we're talking about courtesy to one another. And here we're focusing mainly on God's family, brothers and sisters. Yeah, we have a KW family here, but we got brothers and sisters all over the world. It's not just here, it's everywhere. And we're focusing, we're here, but we got brothers and sisters everywhere. In 1 Timothy 5, 1 through 3 there, it talks about how the older man should treat and respect the courtesy of the father, how the older ladies treat and respect the courtesy of the mother, how the young ladies in the church, the family, treat the sisters, and widows are treated with honor and show courtesy. It's how the family's supposed to be knit, that we taking care of each other. And again, not just here, but our brothers and sisters across. The last one there on the handout, number 8, talking about courtesy, respect, kindness, and characteristic that we must grow into, please God, and to show honor to those who are in our church family. That word must, I believe there is, for us to be pleasing to God, we've got to have the characteristics there, and we need to work on those each and every day to try to get there. If I could get someone to read the memory verse, is Hebrews 13, 1 and 2, please, for our second week. Hebrews 13, 1 and 2.
Let brotherly love continue. Do not forget to entertain strangers, but by so doing, some have unwittingly entertained.
The Lord's telling us that we need to be seeing about each other and seeing about each other's needs and take care of it. When Chris asked me to speak tonight and gave me what the topic was, I guess the first thing that come to mind, those that you know me, Bible camp was the first thing that come to mind. And I say that we are blessed to have such a wonderful staff, a courtesy staff, a loving staff. Because when we go over there, we got kids, don't know a lot of us. I know one year we looked at it, about 40% of the kids we all knew, and 60% we didn't know who they were. It's around 50-50. Most of the time we know the kids or we don't. But when the staff gets there and they're showing how courteousy and kind and loving they are to each other, and then the kids, how they take care of those kids, how they talk to those kids, how they treat the kids, it's what makes our week so well. Because that's the main key factor when we get over there on Sunday that I've tried to strive on years, and those that come as staff, you know what I try to tell you. We've got to put the kids first. But our staff is just wonderful. I think back many years ago, we didn't have very many staff, very, very few. And I know Brian can relate back to it. At one point, I led singing for a year or two. I'm not a song leader, I promise you. I don't do well standing in front of people a lot of times. We had people like Tyler Montgomery, Jacob. We had Johnny Ford, Wesley, Andy, Cleo, Kevin, Sean, Russell, and many others. They were so little, all we could get them to do was sing Jesus Loves Me. Most of these young men, a lot of them have come back as staff, and the kindness of their heart and the way they are. I could sit here and talk all night about the kindness of the ladies that we have that come to camp. How they really set the tone. I know Mr. Ken Upchurch would always tell us we're blessed with women power here, and I think we are. And I know at camp we definitely are. But it goes back to their courtesy and their kindness that they show. And I know all of us men, we've heard it and we've all heard it before, that behind every good man there's a wonderful lady. And I know we can all agree with that. Of course, I know I'm blessed in that area. But when campers see and they feel how loving and courteous the staff is, it's very contagious. It's just, we say if we can make it till Tuesday night, if the kids we can just keep them here to something happens on Tuesday. They get all their energies out and they get to see how we react and how the staff is treating them. Most of the time, if we can get them through Tuesday, they stay the rest of the week because it's contagious. And when you, and our staff is what it is, you'll see kids after a couple of days, you see kids doing things for each other that you would never think of. And I know there's been times we tell folks, we got trash everywhere, we need to clean up. Well, the next morning you wake up and there's no trash. And then you go asking questions, and it might be one person got up early that morning and went and picked up for everybody. How kids, this year at camp, we had one of our young ladies come for the first time, and she wanted to wash dishes on Monday. We hadn't been there long. And so you back up and you watch, stand there, and you see these little kids serving, working, and the older ones coming up, handing their plates, and the conversations that start right there. It's because of the courtesy and kindness of those kids' hearts. And I want to go back to that, on our handout, that number 8 about being courtesy and talking about how we must grow to be pleasing to God. When others come in, our visitors, and others come in and see and feel how loving and courteous we as a KW family can be, we never know what doors that will open for us. We need to never give up on that. When people come in, we need to make sure we're making every effort we can to at least shake their hand or introduce ourselves to them. Let's don't let the devil win. Let's don't let the devil get the best of us. And make sure that we're courteous, because we never know what door that'll open for us.
Figure it out. We might get somewhere. Evening. I'm glad y'all could be here. So I know Mr. Ricky mentioned that song and said he wasn't going to be the one to sing it, and I just hate to tell you I ain't either. But we're going to start out in Genesis 18, 1 through 8. Genesis 18, 1 through 8. You got it. Anybody want to read that for me? Tyler? 1 through 8. So I found it interesting all throughout this passage here, and you can look at your sheet, and it's got the points. But the Lord makes to mention that it was hot. That's the first thing that stood out to me, especially in the South. I know we've all heard it before. Everyone likes to complain about the heat, and rightfully so. But it was hot, and what stood out to me the most is that Abraham got up and went quickly about it. He didn't sit around and decide to complain or be sluggish about it or make an excuse or see three men coming up to him and be like, it's hot. I don't want to get up. I don't want to go meet these three men. But he got up. We'll see, what verse is that? 2 and 6, he went quickly. He ran to them. And in verse 6, so Abraham hurried into the tent. We have to be quick with the things that we do, especially being courteous. If we go about it with an attitude that's, yeah, I guess I got to do it because it's what I'm supposed to do, then what good is it really doing? And in Proverbs 6:13, it tells us that a wicked man shuffles his feet. A wicked man shuffles his feet. Who likes to be lazy? I like to be lazy all the time, especially after work. I like to take my shower, lay in bed, do nothing. But a wicked man shuffles his feet. And later on in verse 15, it tells him he would be broke without remedy. He'll be destroyed. A wicked man, a lazy man will be destroyed. It's kind of scary to think about, honestly. And then going back to Genesis 18, he went and got water. So, and we know from reading the scriptures that this was a cultural thing to take water to people and to wash their feet. We always have to keep in mind where we're at and what situations we're in so we can best serve others. It's always a good idea to reach out to people in ways that they'll be most acceptable to. And then it goes on to further say that he went and got a calf that was tender and good. We got a few cows back at the house in Sand Hill, and we got some old ones, bony, hips poking out. They don't look all that great, but they do their job, which is eat and do nothing. We got some little baby ones, and those things are fine, and I love to see them because I'm so excited to watch them grow up. Maybe someone will show them, maybe someone will buy them. Maybe Papa can get a new gator or something, I don't know. But Abraham took a tender and good calf, and he gave it to these three men. He could have kept that for himself, but he didn't. Why? Courtesy. He knew that if he showed genuine compassion and courtesy for these men, that it would go somewhere. And we have to keep that in mind also. So Chris was telling me that whenever it was time to come around to fill the pantry back up, that whatever his family got, everyone else got also. We should try to give the best that we got. We shouldn't try to be sparing with the things that we try to give people. Because what's the good that it's doing? But, I'm just going to keep the best for myself. Because I need it more than someone else does. In Matthew 25:34 through 40, Jesus is talking about the ones in need, the hungry, the clothesless, the homeless. And he says, do unto those that you do unto me. So we never know. The ones who need it the most, we're serving the Lord. It's about the people, it's about their souls, but most importantly, it's about the Lord. It's about the Lord's message. And then we go on to verse 8. So he took butter and milk and calf which he had prepared, and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree as they ate. I'm going to read that again. He stood by them under the tree as they ate. He was ready to serve. Once again, we think about he went quickly. He was standing by. He didn't just give it to them and say, there you go, I'm going to go sit down. I did my part. He stood by. He was ready to do more. Courtesy is a servitude that reaches others, and it sets an example for the church and for the body. And it sets us apart from the world. And the whole thing about courtesy is that it opens doors, and certainly it does. People see you giving all that you have all the time, readily available. They notice these things, and they get curious because they're like, I know if someone's being nice to me and I'm having a bad day, why are you so happy? And it's tough to get out of that mindset, and it's tough to just to be joyful all the time and want to give. I'm going a little fast. I'm already in Philippians. All right, so let's go to week 4.
You kind of touched on this point, I believe it was verse 8, when you said that he stood beside. That was typical of the servants at the time. The servant stood to sit with the master or with the guest to eat. They stood back and waited to serve,
Right.
more or do whatever they needed. And that's the role that he took here, was the role of a servant when he fed these 3 men. He stood off to the side and waited to see if there was anything else they needed.
That's an excellent point. If going throughout the chapter, we know that he's got his 10, he's got his servants with him, but it's his attitude and his actions, his mannerisms. It's the courtesy that he has, and just like Uncle Charlie was saying, is he didn't just say, okay, well, I got people that'll do this. It was him doing it. Thank you. That was awesome. Pass. All right, so let's go to Philippians chapter 2, 1 through 4. Got any volunteers for that one? Thank you. So I really want to focus in on 3 and 4. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem others better than himself. Humility. We can't go around with our chest poked up and our nose turned up, trying to be courteous to others, because that doesn't work at all. It's for no good. We're not doing it for others. If we're looking to exonerate ourselves and esteem ourselves and put ourselves on a higher platform by having this facade of being caring, then what's the point? So, conceit, doing nothing that should be done for personal gain. We don't want to be nice so other ones notice us and come up. Yeah, it is, and I enjoy it. When someone comes up, oh, that was nice of you. Yeah. But that's not what we're after. And we should always strive to set others' needs above our own. I'm gonna skip over to chapter 4, verses 14 through 15. I'm gonna read that. This is a letter addressed to the church here at Philippi from Paul. Nevertheless, you have done well that you have shared in my distress. Now you Philippians know also that in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but you only. That's tough. You go off and there's no one there to help you. How far do you think you're going to get? I'm going to struggle. I'm a people person. I love my family. I got to have them, or I won't do no good. And I think that speaks volumes to the church, is if we remember that we love to give excuses, it's the timing's not right, or it's just not good conditions for me right now. Or a big one is someone else will get it. It's the church. Someone will care. But in the beginning of the gospel, when I departed from Macedonia, no church shared with me concerning giving and receiving, but you only. If everyone has that mindset of, oh, someone else will do it, then it never gets done. And that's a servitude thing. That's putting others' needs above our own. If we're not making time to consider others' problems or lives, then we're not helping. And then our memory verse, 1 Peter 3, 8 and 9. and I'll read that for us. 3, 8, and 9. Finally, all of you be of one mind, having compassion for one another. Love as brothers, be tenderhearted, be courteous, not returning evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, blessing. Know that you were called to this, that you may inherit a blessing. You were called to this. This is our mission, to be caring, to be courteous to one another, to help each other out, to help the world out, to spread God's love. It's not just a feel-good feeling, it's boots on the ground, like Mr. Ricky said. Go quickly. A wicked man shuffles his feet and will be destroyed. Any questions, comments, concerns? If not, then I guess I'll close this in prayer. Well, dear God and Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us this opportunity we have to come together and grow. Please help us always to be courteous and looking out for those in need so that we might spread your love and spread your message. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your Son. Thank you for this church. Thank you for this family. It's your Son's name that we pray. Amen.